Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at Gotham Knight's gameplay reveal, trailer, whatever it is you want to call it, that's been captured from pre-alpha footage. And we're going to talk about some pertinent things that I noticed all the way through the presentation that was done at the DCFandome event just recently. Now, with the gameplay, a lot of people have, shared different opinions as to what they feel, why they think the gameplay could be better and all that. But this is pre-alpha footage for a game that's going to be coming out next year. I just want to tell you that these development companies are able to patch and clean up and smoothen their games before release. If you want to take an example, look at Marvel's Avengers. From the closed beta on PlayStation all the way through the open beta, the game has actually improved significantly. In fact, right now, my little boy, the Marvel fan in this family, is currently playing it on my small computer, and it's actually very steady and very stable. And so that's actually pretty cool. Under supervision anyways. He's playing the characters that he loves, and, he's under supervision playing it. So there's some things that are in the game that are not, I would say conducive for that. So let's jump into this gameplay trailer and listen and talk about some things, if that's cool with you guys. Cool. This is the clock tower, by the way, Oracle's spot.
Hi, I'm Patrick Redding, Creative Director on Gotham Knight. On behalf of the whole team at WB Games Montreal, I'm really honored to give you a quick look at our gameplay.
Elliott Center is covered in ice.
So the this Bat bike that Batgirl's riding, to me, seems pretty cool. I think they understood that the Batmobile was very frowned upon, and I doubt if they even bring a boss fight to the Batmobile, it will be really cool. Imagine if you were riding the Batmobile and you had to take out some bad guys, maybe using Red Hood, because he has his side arms. That'd be a cool run to deal with, if you get what I mean. But there are a few things that I want us to pay attention to. So let's.
Whatever's causing this is localized at the top.
We're going to look at a short clip from one of Gotham Knight's villain crimes in a pre-alpha build. This mission is halfway through the Mr. Freeze storyline.
So the mission is halfway through the Mr. Freeze storyline. So Mr. Freeze has which tells us that Mr. Freeze is going to have a significant storyline in this game. Unlike their other game that they did, Batman Arkham Origins, Mr. Freeze had a DLC. And one of the really cool things that he goes on to say is he talks about where in the game this mission is happening. So let's listen again.
And we're playing Batgirl a dozen or so hours into her character progression.
So a dozen or so hours into, I don't know if he said our character progression or her character progression, but if this is a dozen hours into her character progression or into our character progression, then I'm looking at a 30-hour story-based game, or maybe even much more, because if you think about Assassin's Creed, now I know that's a crazy example out there, but I think that's what this game is probably going to try to achieve with a semi-open world game and 4 different heroes, is you're probably going to have the opportunity to play them all and, in different story aspects, kind of get used to them. And then as you start to progress through the game, they're probably going to be adding different missions, different bad guys, different maps, and different activities that you can complete as a player. But halfway through our character progression, a dozen or so hours into our character progression is really nice to hear. And that being halfway through Mr. Freeze's storyline, tells me that you're probably going to knock out easy another 6-7 hours before you even deal with Mr. Freeze. He may be the main bad guy in this game. He may be one of the bosses. We don't really know, but there's nothing wrong with seeing multiple, villains or supervillains in the entire thing show up. So this is pretty cool. Let me log out of Uplay real quick. It will never ever stop with the notifications. Let's go.
Playing Batgirl a dozen or so hours into her character progression.
So there's civilians on the streets, which is nice.
All units at Elliott Center. Air support inbound. Hostiles opening fire on upper floors. Air support, can you do a fly around?
Freeze has recently returned to Gotham with a mysterious agenda that involves manipulating the weather to flash freeze the city.
Okay.
Get through that ice.
An important goal for Gotham Knights was that players can play all of the game either solo or in 2-player co-op.
So players can play either solo or two-player co-op. Some people have frowned upon this. I say it's a welcome change. This is Warner Brothers Games Montreal, by the way. They're the ones who did the multiplayer mode for Batman Arkham Origins. So to me, I think they're going with their own experiences. They're going with their strong points with this game, and there's nothing wrong in playing a game like this with a friend, if you get what I mean. Especially it's a Batman game. I mean, you can definitely get people in with you to play certain missions. And another thing I don't really know is if somebody's already leveled up higher, I wonder if they can join you and play a mission that they've already played and have like all their skills and stuff. It'd be really cool. Maybe just dealing with the different superhero dynamics and how you guys approach the missions, you've just increased the possibility of play styles. You've increased the possibility of being able to take on this game from different angles. So I think this is going to be a solid addition to the game. Right now, people don't seem to be really accepting of it. In many cases, I've seen some comments and I've seen some reactions, but I think it's going to be really cool.
He'll get it.
So he literally yanks a guy from nowhere.
Robin's learned how to access the Justice League satellite for short-range teleportation.
So the Justice League satellite for short-range teleportation. So this is a very different timeline. In my last videos on the analysis, I talked about how there were some tip in the hats to the Arkham games, but we need to refer to this game as just a new game that has a Bat family in it. Most importantly, that may have Batman in it. And we have to kind of deal with that timeline as a whole different thing. People have called it a soft reboot. I really am not a fan of that because, just think about the comics and think about the different worlds that they build. I think that's what this game is trying to go for.
Meanwhile, Batgirl has mastered some more familiar techniques.
Okay. You see, Patrick Reddin does not want to talk about Batman. He doesn't want to say anything about Batman. I mean, the way he also says it is in a sinister way. And I remember listening to this going, I wonder. Let's listen to it again.
Meanwhile, Batgirl has mastered some more familiar techniques.
Yeah. Too familiar. I really love that. I really love that environment support for the combat. That tells me that we're going to see that Arkham Grit combat, but now improved with all kinds of fun stuff. If this is actually in the game, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool. Batgirl is one of my favorite when it comes to combat.
And developed a few new ones of her own.
So what she does here, I think, is she activates like this swarm of like rain of some kinds of whatever to take on the enemy NPCs. Imagine if that probably increases your damage or something. You have an XP meter here. I'm not a fan of this. I don't know if this is gear I'm seeing. Oh, yuck. I'm still going to play it, but what in the world is that? Oh my gosh. Maybe you can get better gear to make your character stronger. Hey, I played the Division game, so this would be right up my alley anyways. But for those who were laughing at Avengers, you better be careful with the way you laughed at that game, because it seems like this Gotham Knights game might be shaping up to be very similar. But I'm going to hold my judgment, though. I'm not going to confirm anything because I don't know anything. But I'm just saying there's that feel that I'm getting from it. And this looks very RPG-esque. They need to hide this somewhere and just make it like Ghost of Tsushima RPG, where you are getting stronger, but we're not seeing this level meter up here, because it's really going to throw a lot of fans off. A lot of fans who love these games may or may not partake in games that, permit this kind of a setup. But it is what it is. She just attached something to his body, I think. But Robin comes in here and does something.
Fun's one word for it. Just a heads up, the chopper's under orders to fire on anything that moves inside.
Gotham City Police, drop your weapons or we will open fire. Returning fire.
The storm is getting worse. You need to hurry and find a way inside Elliott Center.
The GCPD
Alfred.
chopper made that part easy.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this game smells of full-blown RPG mission progression for main mission with the possibility of doing co-op. I know when I smell these kinds of things. I mean, I played Tom Clancy's Division 2 games that, you know, for over 4 years, and I've played a whole bunch of other RPGs like this. And with the dialogue and the way the game is progressing and this trailer that they're showing you, they are telling you exactly what this game is in a few minutes. And so be ready for a very different game. I think when one of the rumor folk, I think it's Casey Walsh, said fans are going to be surprised, I think this is what he meant about a game like this. I'm not going to lie. I'm digging Batgirl's outfit, man.
This doesn't look up to code.
I think she and Robin have the best looking outfit. Well, from the trailer anyways. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward this part because they make their way into it. Well, they're about to get in there.
I meant to do that.
And I think the voicing for Batgirl might be the same as Injustice 1. Maybe it's somebody else. I'll look and see who did the voiceover. Yep, you got that linear thing going on with the, you know, with the structures where you can go in and take out bad guys.
Gotham Knights is built to let players approach each challenge with their preferred style and their preferred build.
Build. Did you hear that? Build. So you're probably going to be looking at gear that allows for you to take on specific enemy NPCs in different ways. So maybe gear that, you know, encourages you to play stealth or helps you do well when you're playing stealth, where you can basically, you know, I don't know, 10% extra increased damage to Mr. Freeze boss guys or something. I don't know, you know, something of that nature, just like they do in Assassin's Creed. And I hate to say Assassin's Creed in the same place with Batman, but, or a Batman game or a Batman themed game, whatever you want to call it, Gotham Knights, but it is what I think we're seeing very much here.
This will only take a second.
That was a weird. So Robin's going stealth. She's going full-blown run and gun. So I think they're also making that distinction, saying, you know, with your preferred build. So you might take a huge melee full damage build and go into a place and just wreck enemies, you know, at the same time. I like it. We've played games like this before, you know. Interesting that it's going to be in this game, but still a system that many gamers that play RPG games are used to. So look at Robin over there on the corner. I think they did that shot intentionally so that you could see Robin basically swing and knock out an enemy. Check it out. You know, and then Batgirl is going full on combat. She just dodged and she just evaded that. Did you guys notice the frame drops there? This really is a pre-alpha build. Like once all that light and sound came in, boom, the game went crazy. And then look at all your motion blur just to kind of, clean this up a little bit. Man, I think this reveal, I don't know if they were ready for, even showing this game yet. I think they just were like, you know what, let's just put this together, because these trailers and stuff, they take a while to put together. But I think this game is probably 1.5 years old in development from what I'm seeing. You're talking about that 2018 when they were developing the concept and floating. I think that's when they were doing that and floating all that stuff around. When you saw that t-shirt hint, I think that's where you need to look to. Again, you can dodge. Really nice. I'm not a fan of this soundtrack. It's quite annoying. I hope you could just turn the music off in some other case.
Dad, you're it.
Oh, team takedown. Not bad. XP. Yeah. This is Wayne Manor, isn't it? Or maybe some building. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward all the way through to where they actually encounter Mr. Freeze. Alfred is there talking, and then she plants this. To be honest, like I said, the suit is beastly, man. Barbara's outfit here looks pretty insanely good, and they did a good job with her in the Matter of Family. But what I really want to showcase before I end this video is their fight with Mr. Freeze. This one really threw me off because, you know, we're used to the boss fights being real-time adaptations and all that. You using vantage points. If you remember, if you've played, you know, a Cold Heart DLC, they pretty much make you have to, you know, use your brain to take on Mr. Freeze. But here, it's just, and even in Arkham City, that was one of the best boss fights. But again, Warner Brothers Games Montreal is not necessarily wanting to do things like Rocksteady. They did Arkham Origins somewhat like Rocksteady's. So I think here they're coming with the, you know, the mindset that this is going to be full melee combat based on your strength, because he also mentions something about how your level will and you know, would influence your encounter with the bosses. So let's listen to this.
See about that.
You cannot run from me!
Jump. Even I could tell them to jump because he uses an AoE type of attack there.
The important element of Gotham Knights is that as the player increases in power and ability, their foes keep pace.
As the players increase in power and ability, their foes keep pace. So
confronting a villain like Mr. Freeze can be a very different proposition at level 5 or at level 15. And not just in terms of stats, but in the kinds of attacks and defenses they bring to bear. And that was just a short peek at Gotham Knights. We're going to have more to show you in the future.
I like what I see, folks. It seems like it's a very innovative take on the game. This arm of Warner Brothers Interactive is financially strapped, and so they have to find ways to be able to extend the games. And I think they've known that for a while. And that's why in their community manager post, when they were looking for somebody to take on that job, this was in the job description. Somebody who would want who would get fans excited and want them to log into the game daily. So we're looking at DLC that stretches on and on. We're probably looking at a level system that will be added every time a DLC is added, or a new map or a new map area or a new boss or whatever, just to continue going. And then there's also going to be the main meat, which is the main story and the main lore and plot of the game itself. So you're looking at maybe 30 hours base game, and then anywhere from 100 to 300 hours of more gaming going down the road, which is insane. So most likely we're not going to be dealing with the traditional Riddler trophies and all that stuff. I hope we don't have to deal with that. But this, to me, looks like an alternative for endgame content that works, if you get what I mean. So I'll get out of here. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys a lot. Hopefully we'll see you in another one. Peace out.